Dear friends, I'd like to talk to you without a manuscript here, but there are two advantages of using a manuscript. One is that the question posed is going to be fairly factual, and the other is that I'll keep the time limit. You can have my manuscript later if you'd like to. Well, first of all, of course, I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you on this occasion. The topic that was given to me is what is happening in Norway, as you said. And the simple reason to that is a simple answer to that question. I'm not quite sure, but I'll come back to that. The Norwegian government's political platform on January the 14th last year, 2018, states that the government will pursue a knowledge-based policy on illicit substances, aiming to prevent, reduce, and limit the harmful effects of illicit substance use. To save life and ensure dignity must always be the foundation for a human approach to substance use-related issues. Priority should be given to the most effective measures. The government wants to change the authorities' reaction to persons arrested for use and possession of illicit substances for personal use, from punishment to help, treatment, and follow-up. The government will not legalize, yet, the use and possession of illicit substances, but this does not prevent more emphasis on harm reduction. We will aim to establish more detoxification facilities and strengthen the services given both before and after treatment, as well as establish more treatment teams providing both specialist health services and municipal services. Now that's quite important. The two sectors, both specialists and municipal. To target these aims, the government, that is in this case the Ministry of Health and Care Services, has set up a public committee to prepare the implementation of the reform. There is no question of whether the reform is going to take place. We merely discussed the legal regulations concerning the reform. Kenneth Arctander, are you here? No, not yet. Who you'll meet later today, is on the committee, and I suggest you talk to him about the work being carried out, although I doubt that you'll get much out of him. The committee hands its report in before the end of this year. According to its mandate, the committee shall in particular go through the Portuguese model, consider whether the model, or part of it, may be adapted to Norwegian context. As you all know, Portugal decriminalized all use and possession of illicit substances for personal use in 2001 and reports overall positive effects of the same changes we are now considering in Norway. The basis for our reform is that problems related to the use of illicit substances is essentially a health challenge, not a criminal offense. For those addicted to illicit substances, punishments and fines are meaningless and may reinforce the problems through further marginalization of individual user. Also, recreational users of illicit drugs who have not developed an addiction can be stigmatized by criminal prosecution and, in a worst-case scenario, fall outside of society by dropping out of the labor market, education, and so on. We must achieve better services for users of illicit substances. The criminalization of use and possession of illicit substances for personal use has partly prevented establishing appropriate and customized health and follow-up services. One of the main messages from this reform is that this involves a major shift. A shift in the society's understanding of and attitudes towards substance use-related problems and how we as a society should cope with and address these problems. The logical consequence of the recognition of substance use problems as health issues and not criminal offences is to transfer the responsibility for society's response to the use and possession of illicit drugs from the justice sector to the health services. However, it is important for me to emphasize that the government's aim is not to legalize illicit substances, as I said. The government stresses that a continued ban sends a signal about the danger of using illicit substances. The aim is to ensure better service and help to users, not punishment. On this issue, the four parties within the coalition are not in fully understanding with each other, to put it this way. It has indeed been a long time coming. The process towards decriminalization started some 20 years ago. Well, it may seem to you that I've answered the question given to me, what is going on in this country, but I'm really concerned about two aspects of the reform. One is the financial aspect of the reform. We are not talking petty cash here. We are talking about a serious amount of money, and although Norway is one of the wealthiest countries in the world per capita, I have serious doubts whether priority will be given to set up a sufficient amount of health institutions. The other is the police narcotics lobby, which may seem to undermine the work being carried out by the health authorities. I think it is important to say in this forum that my party will not tolerate that the justice sector maintains its rights to be able to arrest people on the slightest suspicion of possession. As you know, this is not in line with the Portuguese model. Illicit drug use in Norway annually accounts for around 250 overdose deaths, which puts the country on the shameful top 5 of the European list of casualties. We are, from a public health point of view, struggling hard to do something about this position. And again, strengthening the police role in this field, I'm quite sure, will not help. I thank you for your attention and wish you good luck with the conference. I would have liked to stay with you throughout the day and tonight, but we have recently had local elections in this country, and I'm afraid that these negotiations are taking place within my constituency, and I have to take part in that, so I'm very sorry about that, but I hope to see you all on a later occasion. Thank you very much.